Welcome to Twin Peaks Season 3, Episode 16 Recap Review. So with this episode we had 4 main story arcs going on. So I'll do a quick recap, then a bit of a breakdown, and some predictions for next episode as well. So going forward this will contain spoilers. So let's start with the Doppelganger and Richard Horne. Finding the coordinates. So looking for a place? I like that. I'm looking for a place. Do you understand a place? I thought it was quite a funny line. So we see that the Doppelganger has been given 3 coordinates, 2 of the match. And supposedly they're at the place where the 2 of them are the same coordinates. So we see Jerry Horne as well witness this event from afar. So they can't be far from Twin Peaks Township itself because Jerry Horne has wandered to here. I mean, he still is probably quite far from Twin Peaks, but not a massive amount. So, within a day's travel. So we see Jerry Horne witness the agonizing demise of Richard Horne. And as we can see that this coordinate was a trap. So goodbye, Richard. This didn't look like it was a transition for Richard to another place. It was more his death. But if the Doppelganger had stepped into this trap, would he have died or would he have been transported? It's I guess a bit of how you want to interpret that situation. But for me, it was a death of Richard and not a transport to another location. It was so agonizing, I think it had to be a death. So I love the part as well. I mentioned it a few times that I thought the Doppelganger might be Richard's father, and it was. So when he finished dying, he said, "Goodbye, my son." Oh, what a good father he was to him as well, obviously. So then we see the Doppelganger sent a message to Diane. So a smiley face and all. So I interpreted that when she read it with Diane's reaction that she was to kill everybody. Diane eventually gets that message. Took a while to get to her. It seemed to be delayed for his location. Then we see her reaction. So she prepped a pistol. Then she goes to talk to the FBI agents. She manages to detail out the events surrounding when she met who she thought was Agent Cooper many years ago. She really struggled to control herself in this scene. Holding back from shooting them, trying to say what was going on. It was a real, confusing emotions on her behalf, what she was trying to achieve. As she's been this whole season as well, she's been really hard to actually predict what she's going to do and her motives. So then we see that she gets the pistol out and tries to shoot them. And now, with what occurs here, it all makes sense. So she now goes back to the lodge, and she has been manufactured as well. So she's been manufactured by the Doppelganger to do his bidding. And it really helped me understand what her motives are, because she has been obviously working for the Doppelganger, but it's almost like a component of her figured it out and was trying to help the FBI agents. So it was an interesting kind of a two-faced situation going on. So it was pretty cool. So it really did make sense. But it did leave some questions here as well around the description of her meeting Agent Coop. Did she die in that scene, or has she been captured? So is the original Diane now dead, or what has occurred to her? Okay, now moving on to Chantel and Hutch. So they stake out Dougie's house. As once again, another prediction I had last week that they were going to clean up Duncan Todd's mess, but I didn't realize they were going to go straight to Dougie's house, which they did. But it was a relief to see the FBI agents turn up. We already knew that Dougie was, he's just been electrocuted, so he's probably at the hospital. So that was what was happening. So they were staking out his house unaware of this. So we see the FBI agent turn up. Then Wilson gets told to return, stake out the house as well. The sensational scene occurs. I almost found this whole scene here almost like a Tarantino film. It was really cool. So we had the Mitchum brothers turn up and trying to stock Dougie's house with some food. So we have the 2 people staking out the house. So we have Chantel and Hutch and the FBI agent staking out the house. So we have 3 parties here. Then all of a sudden, the Polish accountant turns up. It just takes care of the whole thing. It was amazing. So we see him trying to get into the driveway. Chantel and Hutch didn't accept that. If anything from the scene, I thought the only people that would walk away would be Chantel and Hutch, not the other way around. I guess the only downside I thought was that I thought everyone was going to get involved. I thought there was going to be a big shootout between Chantel and Hutch, the Polish accountant, the Mitchum brothers, and the FBI. But it was still an amazing scene. I really did like it. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, so that's the end of Chantel and Hutch. And we see the FBI there to clean it up, and the Mitchum brothers escape without incident. So now over to Agent Coop in his coma. So we see that Bushnell gets distracted by a noise. So he follows the noise. Now I wonder if this was something that was intentionally for him to be distracted, so he leaves the room so that the one-armed man can contact Agent Coop. So we see Agent Coop sit up, and already just by his movements and actions, he seems to be returned. Then we see him talk to the one-armed man, and he said, "Yes, I'm awake, I'm 100%. So it was really cool to see that. The one-armed man gives him an overview of what's occurred. So he's saying the other one didn't go back in, he's still out. And then he gives him the ring. You put that ring on the doppelganger and he will return to the lodge and lock him in. So then we see, which was very, very intriguing, about the seed. So Agent Coop knows about the seed. So my assumption here, saying that Agent Coop wants to get the seed and make a new Dougie to send back to Janie E and Sonny Jim so that they have a family again. But that was my pickup on that. I don't know if it's going to occur, but that's, I think, his goal, because he doesn't want to leave that family without a father. So it was quite noble. It was very cool to see that he knows exactly what's been going on as well. Whilst he's been in this kind of sleep state or kind of zombie state that he's been in, he still is aware of all his actions. So that was cool. He didn't need explaining what was going on. He didn't need to be caught up. He needed to be caught up, I guess, reminded of what happened with the doppelganger, but that was about it. It was just a really cool scene. It was what everyone has wanted for the whole season, was to get him back and that character back into this TV show, because he's such a fantastic character, and it's going to be cool now, especially when he meets the other FBI agents. So it's going to be a good reunion, I think. So let's wait for that. And we see as well that he's using his contacts with the Mitchum brothers to get a jet to Twin Peaks as fast as possible. So hopefully he'll make it there before the doppelganger does any damage. Okay, now on to the last scene, the last main part of this episode, which was Audrey and Charlie turning up at the Roadhouse. So all is normal when they walk in. Now the funny thing is with these characters, I thought there was something funny going on, because over the last few episodes, their scene of this argument that's been going on has been going on for 3 or 4 episodes. And it hasn't changed. They've not changed location. They've not changed the argument. They've not changed their clothes. But whilst this has been occurring, the episodes have been going on, and days have been passing, time's been passing, but not for these characters. Now, I did think that was a bit weird. I guess you can dismiss it by saying it was just a scene that was split up over a few episodes. But for me, all other characters, all of the time has been relevant for these episodes, except for Audrey and Charlie. So I did think that was weird before I saw this episode. And now it kind of makes sense as well, because we saw them go into the Roadhouse. Everything's normal. Then all of a sudden they say, now it's time for the Audrey Dance. And it's like, well, what's going on here? Was this a dream? Maybe it's a drug-induced hallucination. So it was very weird. When the fight breaks out after the dance, and she runs to Charlie, the scene changes. Now at that point, you hear the electricity, the kind of the antenna, that's the buzz from the instruments that we associate with the lodges and the giant and those locations. So she's trapped somewhere. Now the difference is that her location she's in is very bright and vibrant. So I don't think it's the normal places we're used to. I wonder if she has been trapped by the doppelganger somewhere else. Another thing too is possibly Diane is in the same location. Maybe they're trapped together. Maybe Audrey has a manufactured version of her out in the world that we've not actually seen. So there could be a few things going on with that. So my assumption now around Audrey, initially when the doppelganger came out of the lodge, she thought it was Cooper, as everyone did. She had the baby. Then either after that point, she's been captured by the doppelganger, put somewhere, or another option I thought of as well, is that maybe she went looking. Maybe she figured out what was going on, and she went looking for Coop and accidentally got trapped somewhere. So I think that is possibly an option as well. Is Charlie manufactured as well? If they're both, possibly both of them were manufactured to serve a purpose for the doppelganger when he returns. We'll wait to see how that turns out. But also, another way you could look at this possibly is the Roadhouse itself so the Bang Bang Bar, whatever you want to call it, is that a special location? Was everything normal in Audrey's life until they entered that place? Maybe when you enter that area, it's actually a hallucination itself. So that's another option. I think that's probably the less likely. So something else I want to bring up as well. The FBI agent, Tammy Preston, she keeps mentioning tulpas. And I've heard tulpas before. I don't know if you ever listened to the podcast Mysterious Universe. It's fantastic. It's funny. I recommend it. If you're into podcasts, check that one out. It's pretty good. So they've mentioned tulpas many times before, and I've heard them talk about it. So a tulpa is a thought form, if you weren't aware. So it's created by multiple people thinking about the same thing and creating an entity based off thought. So it's a Tibetan mythology. It used to be that the idea was that it was meant to be used to traverse spiritual realms. So it does kind of make sense that Tammy's calling these things tulpas. I guess it makes sense if you look at it from her perspective, definitely. But it's a bit weird when you know that what's going on. It doesn't really make sense. But it's a pretty cool thing to name them, I guess. But I just thought I'd mention that if you didn't know what tulpas were, that's kind of the overview. So I think that probably wraps up most points here. So I really enjoyed this one. So we've got really interesting stuff about Diane, how she's manufactured. I guess question around that, was she murdered? Is she in the same location that possibly Audrey is as well? Have they been captured by the doppelganger, put somewhere, and he's manufactured versions of them to serve his purpose? Who knows? All we can do is assume at this point, because I know I had no idea that Diane was like that. It all makes sense now to me, her actions, because of what she was. So it's good that we got that, because I always was kind of annoyed by that her actions didn't really make sense. So that's pretty cool. So either way, I guess it's all options. It's so unpredictable, this show. That's why it's so good. So either way, tremendous episode, I thought. I was very, very happy that Coop is back. I did really appreciate that scene of him returning. I thought that was really cool. The shootout scene I thought was really suspenseful and unpredictable, and I really did enjoy that one as well. So this episode was very fast compared to the previous ones. You could argue that the director should balance out all the action and story arcs throughout the episodes, throughout the season. But for me, that's up to them. It makes a roller coaster ride for us watching it. It's ups and downs. It's slow. It's fast. It's kind of what it should be. It shouldn't be the same thing time and time again. Otherwise, if you want that, just go watch a sitcom. But I'll leave this episode here. I really did enjoy this one. So thanks for listening. If you like this video from me, thumbs up, and also subscribe for future content, and leave some feedback below. What are your thoughts? Do you think I'm off on any of the kind of little predictions or questions I have here? I always appreciate your feedback down below. So until next time, this is Mesh, and I'll see you later.